All right, so welcome everybody to our Lunch and Learn, our marketing Lunch and Learn, and want to thank Tim and Stephanie with Good Intents for doing another webinar for us. We certainly appreciate your commitment to making sure that we have as much information to help our businesses get back on their feet and really continue to grow their business through all of the marketing avenues that are available for us. So as I mentioned, we have both Tim and Stephanie on the line on the screen with us today, and I'm going to go ahead and pitch it to them so we can have a jam-packed half hour.
All right. Okay. So this is our just a great way for you to get onto the local SEO buzz. And here's the first slide. It's "Come all ye faithful to Winter Haven." And we know there's like a big mass exodus from the metropolitan areas to Winter Haven and the Polk County area. So this is a great time for business owners to take a look at their digital storefront. And so first, we're just going to talk about what exactly is a digital storefront. And this is what you see here is Lakeland Electric. They are a utility provider in Lakeland. And this is what, when you search for someone and all of the results here and the little profile over here, this is how they are seen online. And it's how your customers see you. And it's actually like if you're a retail or a restaurant, a small business, this is how you would appear if you were to search by your brand name. And so just really quick, if you have a browser window open, you can pull it open and type in your name and see what does your storefront look like, because that is your digital storefront. And what we know is that 60 to 70%, I believe, of customers are actually doing their like pre-shopping before actually going into a store, like physically. So
yeah, it's 60 to 70%. Those were the numbers that were presented about a year ago. So even then they were saying, oh, it might be even higher now.
It could be,
and
right?
It's only getting more and more.
Right.
With the pandemic. It's definitely higher if people come at all.
Right.
But now we see people coming more and more as traffic is picking back up. So they're researchers.
Right.
They're usually on their mobile phone.
And back 20 years ago, we used the yellow pages, and you'd flip through and look for the category of business you were interested in and call them up. But this is your listing basically in the Rolodex, the Google Rolodex. So it's kind of interesting to see where you're ranked. So if you have a business and you can see your profile right now, how those results are showing, that's what a customer would see. And so it's that's going to lead us into our next slide, and why that digital storefront is so important, what makes it matter. You have your regular customers that visit every day. They come in and that's great, but they're probably not the ones that are going to be the only ones to sustain your business. So with the new residents of Winter Haven and in the surrounding area, if they don't even know their neighbors, how are they going to know about you? And so it's really important for us as business owners to make sure that our listing is up to date and it's showing the latest offers, the latest hours. If your store is closed for a holiday, that should be listed as well. So those are just some of the options that your digital storefront provides to the customers. It's a way for you to reflect what's going on in the store.
Yeah, and it's sort of like piggybacking on that. Stephanie is really, really right about this, because if you have even one thing wrong, and that's the first thing that they click on, like the link to the website or the phone number is off, then that's their first impression of you. If they're new to the area, and they might just assume that you're not actually happening right now. You're not actually open right now. So sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Yeah, and I actually was thinking about this, like an example of what happens for some businesses is that, like, there's a place here in Lakeland that is called the Rib House. obviously you would assume they have the best ribs, but that's not all they offer. If they didn't have their digital storefront up to date, you wouldn't know that they also have some of the best sushi in Lakeland or Thai. So it's important to have that digital presence and, like, say, your menu, those items and things listed within that profile.
And those reviews become like referrals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Are your key terms accurate? So if you have that browser window open and you've searched your name, there's some other things outside of just your brand name, because if the neighbors don't know you, how will your customers? They might know you by brand, they may not. They may just be looking for pizza delivery or a gluten-free pizza nearby. So those are also, whatever you think your customers, how they would see you, that's how you would want to make sure that your profile is triggering those key terms.
Yeah. So, and that's where this really gets granular and specific too, because when you have your key term or the type of service you provide, or your specific business category, someone might not specifically search for Italian restaurant because they want pizza delivery.
Right.
So if you don't have your listing built out with all these different key terms that are specific to your services and products, then people won't find you for that specific need. So having these things built out, having active reviews, having all the content that you can that's accurate to your business present can help with your rankings significantly and help bring in more people so that you can sell more of your product, goods, and services.
Right. And I like the little picture here, because sometimes we see ourselves as the lion, but maybe the reflection isn't clear to our customer. So we want to make sure that lion is front and center. Okay. Accurate business info matters most. So here, this is your NAP. Now, I like NAPs, but there's another meaning to that phrase. It's the name, address, and phone number. And it needs to be consistent across all directories. And when I say directories, it's like Google, Facebook, Yelp, TripAdvisor, Yellow Pages. There's so many directories out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of citation directories.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that across the board, those are up to date. And sometimes on your website, they might be listed in a very structured way. But even when you have a like, say, maybe the Ridge or the Haven does a profile on you, you want to make sure that your location information is accurate on those stories, and that you have the link, to that story somewhere along the lines for your website, and that it's the most accurate one. Okay. So I did want to back up a minute, because we are talking about local SEO, and sometimes people hear SEO and there are two different forms. There's local, and then there's the big traditional SEO. And local SEO is how people find you in the Winter Haven area, that geographical region. That is what local SEO refers to. Traditional SEO is more of the global scheme of your website, and it can be technical and on page, and then the non-technical type stuff.
Content based.
Right.
They do work together.
They do.
The difference is really like Google or Bing or whatever search engine is being used, saying, okay, where is the person searching, and what do we know about the location of this business? And sometimes the search engine has no idea where you are because you haven't signaled those things. So that's a major concern if that's what's happening, especially if you're looking for foot traffic in a specific area.
Yeah. And the best way to build, I have the little policeman here. The best way to build that is with local authority. Like, we are the authority on our own businesses. So you want to make sure that you're playing an active role in showing that you are the authority of your business. So actively seeking reviews and generating content that shows that you're a local based business is super important for those customers to be able to know about you and believe and have that integrity within your service. Okay, so are your profiles optimized? This is one of my favorite ones because there's so many things that you have to think about when you're a business owner and you have, you're probably dealing with other forms of advertising or marketing. And it's kind of time consuming. So have you leveraged every feature? If you're a restaurant, do you have your menu items posted within your profiles? Are you adding weekly posts? Are you putting photos up? Do you share your events on all the different directories? Do you have promotions? Things like that. Seeking reviews from customers. There's kind of a double-edged sword here. I mean, obviously we want to be the best provider of whatever service or product we have. And you should ask your customers for reviews. But if you're afraid of those reviews, then you're not going to become that local authority. And so maybe you need to step up in certain areas. But asking for reviews is super important because it keeps you engaged with the customer and having a kind of like a pulse of what's going on within your business and how you're serving them. And also, do you add localized content into your website and directories regularly? So if you have links or you have content that helps to show that you're the authority in Winter Haven, then that's definitely something that you should be doing.
Hey, Stephanie, can I ask a question about the reviews for a second?
Sure.
So I don't even know when it was, but I remember when it came in because I responded to it. Somebody did a 1-star review on the chamber. And so of course I'd never heard of this person and they left no content on their review. It was just a 1-star review. So of course I commented with a nice hey, if there's anything we can do to help you, not sure why you gave us a 1-star review, but here's my phone number and my email address. Feel free to contact me directly for help. But of course they didn't.
Right.
But
it's easy to hide behind the screen.
Well, right. And I've never heard of this person. So who knows, if they're real or if they were
Right.
hanging out the breezeway and we told them to move along or who knows,
Oh, yeah.
So I guess my question would be, is there anything that you can do about that? Or is it just to try to get as many positive reviews as you can from people to drown out the 1-star review type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, so my belief is that it's okay to have lower valued or star reviews, but obviously you do kind of want to drown that out. So if you had only 5-star reviews and you weren't responding to them, Google might flag that as saying oh, they're doing this in a non ethical way.
Right.
So you do want a mixed bag of reviews. Now, the 1-star ones, there's really not a whole lot you can do about them unless there's
unless they violate
the
terms of use.
Yes, yeah. If there's hateful
Speech,
language,
right.
or illicit words, then you can flag it and Google will remove it. However, a lot of times there's really not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah, one of the ones that we've seen reviews removed for is personal attacks, especially when a name is dropped. They'll take that down. It might take a while, especially if there's a pandemic going on and their whole staff is not responding to anything.
We have seen a slow response time from Google.
Yeah.
Well, and we had a business that was struggling because they had terminated an employee, and that an employee had then retaliated by having their circle of friends go on and post negative reviews on this business. Right. So, I mean, the person got in contact with Google and started to do all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I'm not even, it had been 4 or 5 months when I last talked to him, and he was still fighting to get, to show that they had let this employee go, and this was a retaliation method and all that. But
sure. And so that is a violation of the terms of use for the terminated employee to do that. However, the burden of proof is still on the business owner.
Yeah, and it can be time consuming and it's a little bit of a hassle, but definitely I would say in that situation, you'd want to push back.
You have a plan A in that situation. Plan B is to push back. And in the meantime, you want to definitely
solicit positive ones.
solicit positive ones and respond to the negative ones.
Yeah.
To
Right.
take the higher road and make sure that you look okay.
Mhm.
Like not telling them they're wrong or arguing with them, just to say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Here's some extra information if you can get back to me. And be, with any review, be very specific. A lot of times people will leave negative reviews because they have a vendetta. That does happen. It's called, it's actually a form of digital slander or vandalism. And if you get these negative reviews, sometimes they actually help your rankings because the person leaving the negative review ends up using some of the great key terms that you want. And reviews with really good key terms are really
Good for you.
high ranking factors.
Yeah.
So even the negative reviews can help.
Yeah. Asking customers to be like pretty detailed in the review. I mean, like I do reviews all the time, good and bad. I try not to leave bad ones because I know the impact, but the positive ones, I call out like what my favorite food was or who the person was that worked there that I really thought went above and beyond, because it does impact your ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep,
It sounded like you gave a really good
it does.
review response.
And that's how we would recommend too. I mean,
Yeah.
even for the ones that clients that we work with, that's how we try to respond, is to get some sort of feedback. Okay, so are you on the map? Your map location is important. It's one of the most important ranking factors for you and your local customers. Like I mentioned, 60 to 70% of customers look at a map before they cross through your doors. So, and even before getting in their car to make a trip. So if you have a higher ranking, if you have the accurate store hours and good pictures of like the outside of your building or products that you have in your store or shop, all of that stuff is going to play a role in that person making that extra, drive to come see you. And it's not, it's very uncommon, but it's not unheard of. If your location is kind of like sandwiched between like a really high traffic road and maybe, I'm trying to think of a scenario in Winter Haven, because I'm a Winter Haven girl, like Andy Thornall, they're close to 17, but they're kind of tucked back. So you need to position your pin, drop on the map to the most accessible area of the corridors of roads. Does everybody understand that? I hope so. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that 60 to 70% really answers the question of why is the other guy doing better than me?
Right.
My business practices are better. My prices are better. I do a better job with customer service. But if you're not on the map that they're on, then they don't know you exist.
Right.
Some people exist entirely within Google Maps or Bing Maps or Apple Maps. And if you're not there, they don't know about you. And in some of these cases, you don't know where else this information is being populated or sent to that could help you in terms of discovering new customers and clients and getting your service area widened. For example, with Google Maps, that same information is fed out to an app called Waze because Google now owns Waze. And so that's another area where some people only use Waze, W-A-Z-E, when they're navigating around a new city or even a place where they live, because it has great features for that.
Like I'm traveling next week for the holiday, and I've already looked at places that are within the area that I might be able to walk to, and I do take into account, okay, where am I located? Where are they located? What is their ranking? Let me read some of their reviews to see what they have. Is it too expensive? Do they have my price point on items? Those are things that customers do take into account. I'm sure you do when you're driving around. So it is important just to make sure that all that stuff is boosted on your listings. And isn't Apple Maps, they are linked with Bing or Yelp?
It's not a specialty of mine.
Okay.
But being used to this is kind of a tangent, but being used to get like the majority of their local listing information from Yelp.
Yeah.
And now they have a dedicated Bing Places.
Yeah.
login?
I'm pretty sure that they're linked together. So it's, I mean, there's just so many different directories that you want to make sure that all this stuff is accurate. Okay, so 5 quick and easy things to improve. I'm trying to get us through here in 30 minutes to improve local foot traffic. Claim your business profile across all the directories with your accurate name, address, and phone number data. Post updates regularly, not every year, every week. Promotions, news, information, it should be done on a consistent basis. I just saw something, I was going to pick up t-shirts that I had screen printed and I wasn't sure what time they closed. Their hours had not been updated. And I got there at 4, before 4, when it said that they were going to be closed, and they had closed at 3. So I was a little disappointed. Increase links. Ask customers to leave those 5-star reviews and respond to them. I can't tell you how many times I see reviews and nobody in the company has responded, and that's so important. It gives you an opportunity to engage with your customer and learn more. So it's, I mean, just a really important lesson.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you can include in innovative ways. Like if you have a POS that that gives people the opportunity to request an email receipt, you could have it included on the email receipt with a link directly to Google with the 5 stars already filled out for them.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah, and also you might even consider if you want to mix up where you're getting your reviews, because you don't just want them on Google, you want them on Facebook, you want them on Yelp, you want, you know, it should be very across the board. So if you created like a landing page just for your customers to be able to go to and to select whichever one and have it linked to those specific profiles, then it makes it so much easier for them and they get to choose which platform they're most comfortable using.
Yeah.
Generate localized content to post on your website. This might look like a blog, or it could be stories that you share or products, comparing your best product with a competitor's product. That like, you know, let's think about Winter Haven, Richard's Coffee, their desserts compared to the goodie shop. What's that?
Gourmet goodies.
Gourmet goodies across the corner. You know, those are ideas that you can use to generate that local content.
Yeah, there are key terms like using information about landmarks that you're near.
Yep.
If you're near a
Central
monument,
Park, yeah.
Something like that.
All of that stuff.
Those can help with rankings for local search.
Yeah.
So on that one, sorry, I got lots of questions, but on that one, so when you say post on the website, do you mean the platform that you're trying to gain more traction on? Like for example, with my Google Places page, it's got an opportunity to post stories, and then, but also on Winter Haven Chamber, obviously we have a very active blog that we're posting on that blog all the time. And then part 2 of that question is, if you do mean on both, are there any third-party integrations where you can, you know, post it and it goes to everything? I mean, obviously I know with Hootsuite for social media integrations, but is there anything with, you know, that also has like where you can post it to Google Places or anything like that?
It's really a blind spot right now. For the API, they kind of don't want people to automate that process. So they make it very, very difficult. But I would say, like in terms of strategy, if you have a website that you're working with, when I was talking about landmarks and stuff like that, I was definitely talking about the website.
Yeah.
So if you have great content on the website, you can actually take that content and sort of improve it in a different way and sort of consolidate it, put it on your Google Places as a Google post, and then link back to the information on the website. You want a lot of interplay between the different environments where you exist online, so that understands there's a strong relationship between the profile, the business profile, and your actual website. And then things start to get picked up. You start to see things like on Google, your Google business listing, you start to see Facebook suddenly generating automatically, so people can quickly find Facebook or Twitter. If you have pages like that, these things are automated.
Yeah. And that brings up another point about the whole automation thing. A part of that, you don't want to automate things too much because each platform has a recommended like way of speaking. So like on Google, your Google post is going to be different than what you put on Facebook. The structure of it and maybe the visual content you provide. So I love automation, but to a degree, it would be a little bit complicated to make sure that every post, like, because I see a lot of the times where we'll post on Twitter and that text is a lot different. It's developed differently than what you would want to put on Facebook or like say a Google post. So you do have to customize it a bit. Okay, so for the numbers guy, I always find that somebody just wants to know the numbers. So I wanted to break it down for you guys. And I'm going to read this because it's very hard for me to try to get all of it right. There are 29 local insurance brokers that are listed on the Greater Winter Haven Chamber of Commerce, like business directory. So just imagine all 29 of those brokers being listed on Google. There's only 10 results listed on the first page of the search engine results page. And then you also have 3 that might be listed on the local pack. The local pack is like your map listing. There's 13 listings for that one page. You have 29 insurance brokers, and you can bet that State Farm, Geico, and say, let's see, what's another health insurance, Cigna or someone like that, a big player. They're taking the top 3 because they have more money to play with than you do. So then you go another 5 spots in that first page, and those are given to organic results, leaving you only 6 spots, 29 people fighting for those 6 spots. 23 brokers will not land on that page 1. And then so you go to page 2 and you've got 10 more listings to fight for. So those 29, now we've subtracted 10 more. You've got, or 6, and so the numbers are hard, right? By the end of it on page 4, you're still going to have 3 guys fighting for that top spot on page 4. And I'm just going to ask you, like, how many of you go to page 4 of Google listings to find someone to do business with? So you want to be on the top. You want to be in that local pack. You want to be listed on the maps. And something that you might check right now is on your mobile phone. If you open up your Google browser or Safari, whatever you use to browse the web, search your name. And when you do that, you're going to see that it's going to ask you to allow your location, probably, because that's what happened to me. And then search like coffee house or coffee shop and see who comes up first. And those are the 3 people that have the best rankings. Whatever your business is, you want to make sure you're in that top listing. And that's how you can judge whether or not you're doing a good job for your digital storefront.
Yeah, and I think another way to visualize it too is you have like when you were talking about local SEO and traditional SEO earlier, they're actually 2 different ranking areas.
Yes.
So you might be showing up for local rankings on maps or in the local pack panel,
right,
but not showing up in the actual
the
SERP, like
right,
where all these business websites are linked to. So the local pack is like really the only way that you're generating any buzz online,
right,
because of, you know, market encroachment from franchises and
right,
corporations trying to steal your spot on the page.
Yep.
That's where you really have a chance to hit back, is the local search.
Yes.
Because it knows where you are.
It knows where you are, and it's going to know where your customers are, and it wants to pair those. Kind of why.
Yeah, they do communicate with each other. Yeah.
Why you want to make sure that it's so accurate and clear for your customers.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't build it, who will? We're able to help you and support you. A lot of the times we love chatting with people just to see where they're at and to help them. And this may be new, uncharted airspace for you. And if you're not confident about, you know, holding the reins, we're like the Santa Claus of SEO. We do local SEO and monthly reporting. We can help you with that visibility. We can actually make it really like pretty so that you have that curb appeal, and make those improvements on the website to boost e-commerce or subscriptions. Like if you're if you rely on email or newsletters, that's one way that we can help. And we monitor the keywords for you. And we also have an offer for local businesses because we're Polk County based. So we want to make sure we help our businesses. And that's it.
All
So if
right.
anybody has any questions.
And don't worry if you didn't catch all of it. We will put this up onto our YouTube webinar playlist, so you can catch up on some of the information. I know I was taking some notes. You know, it's always like in the marketing world, you do everything for everybody else, but you never do it for yourself. And so I'm going back and updating our Nelson's smiling too. We're terrible at doing it for ourselves, but really good at doing it for clients. So,
Right.
you know, I was taking notes, and I noticed as I hopped onto that page, Google has even added a lot more since COVID started in terms of the information that you can make sure is updated on your page. So that is great. So open it up for any questions. Everybody is muted right now. So if you do have any questions, you'll need to unmute yourself, but give everybody a second in case you want to say anything. And sorry, I have two screens. So you're seeing the side of my face as I look to the other screen. All right, it doesn't look like anybody is unmuting themselves. So like I said, we will pop this up on our YouTube channel. And, you know, if you need any additional information, Stephanie's contact information is right there on the screen. So Stephanie, Tim, thank you guys so much for doing this webinar today and being so willing to do so many of these quick hits.
Absolutely. Thank you, Katie.
Thanks
It's
for
good
having
to
us.
see you,
Guys,
Nelson.
bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.